Hey folks, I am the Mighty Plantain. Thanks for tuning into this week's beer review. Got something this week from Founders Brewing. It promises to be very, very special. This is the highly acclaimed KBS, a flavored stout. Now, I'm going to read you the label here because there's a lot of interesting wording going on. What we've got here is an imperial stout brewed with a massive amount of coffee and chocolates, then cave-aged in oak bourbon barrels for an entire year to make sure wonderful bourbon undertones come through in the finish. Makes your taste buds squeal with delight. Well, I'll be the judge of that. I'll be one of the many judges of that, apparently. But here's what catches my eye. Imperial stout, massive amount, coffee, chocolate, cave-aged, oak bourbon barrels. So, any imperial stout's going to be good. Aged in oak bourbon barrels is going to be really good. I love the bourbon barrel aged stuff. So I have high expectations for this beer. While I'm pouring this out, hit me up down below with a like and a share, and make sure that you subscribe so you'll get a notification every time I post a new video. Hopefully you find them worth checking out. And if anything, I'm hoping to take some of the mystery out of your local beer cooler so you have some idea of what you're getting into when you buy any particular beer. Wow, that is dark. Black as midnight. There's maybe a slight bit of light getting through there, but I mean, it's like looking through tar, which isn't a bad thing as far as I'm concerned. I love thick, dark beers, and this is certainly looking like it's going to be one. Now, in the aroma, I'm getting the distinct impression of an imperial stout. Now, you've had to have drank a few imperial stouts to know what I'm talking about, or maybe even just one or two if you've got a good memory. I mean, there's just that high alcohol content, chocolatey, thick aroma. There's no other way, honestly, for me to describe it. It's an imperial stout aroma. There's nothing else that really compares to it. It's like somebody dunked a Hershey bar in grain alcohol and then set it on fire. That's about as close as I'm going to come to adequately describing that aroma. Right up front, again, it's obviously an imperial stout. It's got that sour, tart, high alcohol by volume taste. And again, that's something that is characteristic of most imperial beers, especially imperial stouts. And it's again something that can only be described and related to by somebody who has had a few of them. There's a certain distinct flavor to those high alcohol by volume heavy beers, and it's coming right through in the taste. That's up front, that's what you're getting. And they mentioned the bourbon flavors coming through in the finish. Honestly, I'm getting the bourbon flavors as I'm swallowing, and the chocolate and coffee flavors are coming through for me in the finish. And so right up front, I'm getting that sour flavor from the high alcohol content. As it goes down, it's like a nice smoky bourbon with those woody flavors. And then for me, chocolate and coffee in the finish. It's a very mocha finish for me. So I'm getting everything they describe in the label, but just in a different order. It's a delicious beer. I'm really loving it. In terms of other bourbon barrel aged imperial stouts, though, it's not distinguishing itself for me from that field. So that's why I've got to put it at a 4 out of 5. It's a very awesome beer. I'm loving it. It's delicious. I'll drink this again and again. But there is nothing that's making it stand out from beers that are brewed in a similar fashion for me. That's just pushing it up to anything more than a 4 out of 5, which, if you figure a 2.5 out of 5 is average, 4 out of 5 is pretty damn good. I love this beer. It's delicious. It's just not wowing me by distinguishing itself from other similar beers. So that's just my opinion. I want to hear what you have to say about it. Hit me up in the comments or the email link down below. Until next time, folks. Cheers. A little while back, we did a bit of a comparison with the Not Your Father's Hard Root Beer review.
Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for the beer, man. So, highly recommended by you. The Extreme Beer Fest this weekend. We'll be able to get a hold of, I believe it's the American